Right, we're live now. So this evening we're going to be talking about narcissism and narcissists in general. And what are the traits of a narcissist? What is a narcissist? How can they affect you? And how can you recognise one? And possibly, what's the best way to deal with one? I find it a fascinating subject, and I didn't really know what a narcissist was until recent years. I always just thought they were like your classic narcissists, like Ted Bundy, for example. Um, but it's become a bit of a buzzword in recent years, and a lot more information is out there for people to find out about. And so yeah, we're going to be talking about narcissists. What have you been learning about narcissists, Aaron?
Well, I've been doing quite a bit of study over the last couple of days, so I found out quite a lot. And just in the circles that we sort of are in with the Facebook and YouTube, and it's quite prominent, and even like closer to home with my personal, family and friends. You can see it there. It's just being aware of the signs.
Well, do you want to tell us what the signs of a narcissist are, so that people can start looking out for them?
Um, there's quite a few characteristics. Um, this isn't pointed at anybody, might I just add. This is just like my personal observation of.
Oh, that sounds like a disclaimer. I think you've definitely
It's good.
pointed it at someone. I'm only joking. No, carry on.
It's the word gaslighting. I mean, I never even heard of that word till I got into sort of this flat Earth movement, and just that alone, people being able to change and challenge your reality, how you see things, and put make you unsure of yourself, or you've experienced a certain situation, and that's one trait.
So, well, just before we go any further, then, because some people might never have heard the expression gaslighting. So you're saying gaslighting is a narcissistic trait.
Yeah.
Um, and sorry, that's my camera just falling to the floor. I did a bit of research on gaslighting a few years ago, and it's the term gaslight. It comes from a 1938 stage play by Patrick Hamilton, and basically it's centered around a man and wife, and he tries to make her feel like she's going insane. So they like manipulate situations um, to make you question your own sanity, deny any previous abuse that you might accuse them of, um, question why you're acting irrational when you're feeling attacked, because they are attacking you, but they pretend they're not, and then they make out it's all your fault, you're just irrational. So that's like the basic form of gaslighting. Can you add anything to that?
Yeah, and they'll try and get people to change their opinion on you, and go behind the scenes and say bad things about you, or lead people astray to, undermine you. So that's
Yes,
part of the gaslighting.
it's quite a nasty trick, really. Then gaslighting, it's not just it's not just it's not a small thing. It's quite massive, to mess with someone's head like that.
Well, it's manipulation, isn't it? It's not just manipulating that person; it's manipulating the friends, and they can even, do it with family and just anybody really that'll listen. And
So
that.
the sneak. So gaslighting's one trait of a narcissist.
Yeah.
What's another trait?
A lack of empathy for others. So it's something that they're missing is empathy. Now, this I found interesting, because when you think about it, it's quite obvious in some of you look at it from an empathetic point of view, but they're clever people, so they can sort of still like understand how things work and make judgments on observations, but it's not the same as empathy, so they can get away with it on some certain levels.
So they can,
really aware of it.
So they create a false facade around themselves to make them appear empathetic.
Yeah.
So they
It's usually
can
quite
mimic
intelligent people, so they can, you know, make up stories in their mind and live it out.
So is lying a trait of narcissists?
Yeah, I think that's a fundamental part of being a narcissist, but it's just the levels of the lie. Just misleading. You can mislead someone, bend the truth, manipulate the truth.
So it sounds like they're actors then. Good actors.
Yeah, to get they want self-reward, they want to be praised, so they need to manipulate like weaker people. So it's quite a deep, you know, it's there's a lot of thought goes into it, but they're just acting out who they are. It's not like even thought. It's just who they are.
Before we go any further, I think it's important to say that that narcissist or narcissism, it's a personality disorder. Well, it is classified as narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, and it's quite a dramatic personality disorder, according to some things I've been reading.
Yeah, there's different levels of it, though. I mean, some serious. I mean, there's like the real serious narcissist can be aggressive and things and bullyish, and if you confront them on it, so you got to be careful. You know, assess who you're dealing with.
So narcissists can be dangerous. Then is what you're saying.
And as well, a narcissist is like quite close to a psychopath, basically. Every psychopath is a narcissist, but not every narcissist is a psychopath. Narcissists are created; they're not born. So it's just the result of their environment, like from growing up, or even in later life.
So someone can become a narcissist later on in life. They don't have to be one by the time they get to a teenager. They can develop it as an adult.
Yeah, just like through trauma or being treated badly. But it usually stems from childhood, like from the parents, you know, lack of empathy from them. So it's
And
like
lack of love. So a typical narcissist would have had quite an unloving childhood.
Yeah, well, I think it's tough to give the children like. This is the thing that people are worried about nowadays, like getting into this society, because the family unit is just divided through going to work, and there's not much time to give to kids and that, and you know, the school takes a lot of the time up. So we're like bringing up a generation of narcissists who are just like after instant gratification. Just like,
So sorry, Aaron, I cut you off there.
right.
You paused for a nanosecond,
Oh,
so
yeah.
the narcissist in me like jumped at the opportunity to speak.
That's it. We can all like look at ourselves and think, "Oh, am I a narcissist?" But I don't think I am.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, you gotta ask somebody that question, aren't you?
Yeah, can't be diagnosing yourself. That's against the rules.
No.
So, according to my research, narcissists like you said, there's different levels of narcissism. There's different types of narcissists. Generally speaking, if you wanted to find out if you are a narcissist or someone you are with, there's like a quick test that you can do. And basically, so a narcissist will they think everything's about them.
Yeah, self-entitlement. That's like one of the characteristics.
So also, they don't really listen when you're talking to them. Anything you bring up as a subject, they just instantly relate that back to their own life. So I mean, you can be telling them like the most dramatic thing, like, "Oh, my dad died last night," and instead of like comforting you or showing empathy or trying to make you feel better, they're just instantly going to go, "Oh yeah, my dad died when I was 5," and just completely relate it back to themselves, and it in people because that's an easy one to spot. If you spend a lot of time with someone and you do have a lot of conversations with someone, and they're constantly just relaying everything you say back to themselves, that's a good one to just a red flag just to be aware of. Just put that in your mental notes. Another one is they don't think that rules are for them. They think, rules are for other people and they don't have to apply to them.
Yeah, they're special outside of the law.
Mm-hmm. And they're always right. Doesn't matter what it's about. They're always right and you're wrong. So whatever discussion you're having with a narcissist, they will end up winning that argument, even if you've proven it point blank that they were wrong. They'll just turn it round in some kind of way and say, "Well, yeah, that's what I meant, from the beginning. Why didn't you catch on quicker or something?" And just put it back onto you that you're a bit slow in catching up.
Yeah, I think we can all observe these traits if you think back through your life, but you're just not really been able to put your finger on it. You just think someone's a bit of a dick, or you sort of distance yourself from them people, or but there's a lot of it about, and more now than ever.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mm.
Sometimes you're just not, like I said, I didn't really know what narcissism was until recent years, and I could have picked these things out in people, but not stacked it all together to say, this person's personality is not right. Another one. Well, what did they used to call it?
Call it a megalomaniac, and there is no there is no classification for that as a mental illness or anything or personality trait. So that's like an egomaniac, isn't it? So it all stems from the ego.
Right. Oh, very interesting.
Mm.
Another one is that whenever anything goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault. They play the blame game. Nothing's their fault. It's always someone else's fault, and they're quite good at playing the victim as well.
Well, it's like they call that projection. They sort of project it onto you, or what you're saying back onto you, or twist it round and make it that they're the victim.
Which kind of stems into gaslighting again.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, they can't take any criticism. Like, they like to dish it out, and they'll criticize anyone on anything, but you can't criticize them. And even if you're not criticizing them, they'll take it as a criticism. Like, what can I give as an example? Like, say you've been working long hours, and you've not been spending a lot of time with each other or something, and you happen to bring this up. "Oh, we've been working so long." They'll just take that as an instant criticism, as you're trying to say to them that they don't pay enough attention to you, don't spend enough time with you, when you wasn't. You're just making an observation. of your situation at that time.
Just back onto them again, isn't it? It's like what you say is, if it hits home at them, then it must be something you're having a go at. So they're very defensive.
Very defensive, yeah, and quick to lose the temper.
Yeah.
Like quick to get angry about things, and then they take that as an insult as well. Like, why are you deliberately trying to make me angry or something?
Yeah, try, like you see their reasoning. So back to gaslighting.
Back to gaslighting, yeah. So it plays a big role in narcissistic behaviour, gaslighting. I'm glad you brought it up, because it's not something necessarily I would have thought of immediately, you know, to go with narcissists. So yeah, it's not an easy subject. It gets quite deep, and quite dark. And
Yeah.
like you said before, narcissists can be dangerous, and they will hurt you. In fact, they'll go out of the way to hurt you, and it's just like business to them. It's no skin off their nose whatsoever. And as far as they're concerned, you did that to yourself.
Yeah, you're an object.
You know?
You don't have feelings. So they can never. You can relate to them for a moment, but it'll just pass. It's just you're beneath them. So it's like they're controlling as well.
So you know, when you said there's different types of narcissists,
Yeah.
what are the different types of narcissists, so people can get an idea of what they're looking for?
Struggle to grasp the difference because they're all narcissists at the end of the day. It's just how some go about it. So you got like a covert narcissist.
That's my favourite one.
So it's like, I think they like try and control situations and like to plan things and run things their own way. Sort of glory seekers, but I think they are.
Glory seekers, yeah, that's a really good terminology. I like that. That really hits me. So, like these covert narcissists, apparently, according to some experts, are the worst types, and they proper thrive on pretending to be something that they're not. You know, they really build up this false facade about them, and they identify as caretakers, someone that takes care of everybody else, doesn't look after themselves. You know, it's all, they just give. When in reality, that's far from the truth. They make it appear that way, but really, what they do is they're proper energy vampires. Okay. Just give me one moment, audience.
Yeah, they can be charming and nice and amazing people at first when you first get to meet them. They just that's just the front to draw you in, like all you can eat buffet. After 2 plates, you're enjoying it. The third plate, you just start feeling a bit sick. So that's how they work. But obviously, you have to get to know these people to understand all the work and to see the true colours. Not someone wears on the surface, like anybody really.
Yeah, so a covert narcissist, then it's like hard to spot, because it feels like this person is, from an outward perspective, they can do no wrong. They're nice to people, they give to people, but in reality, it's just all for their own self gratification, and so that they can control. Would you agree with that?
Sorry, what that last word?
Control.
Yeah, it's all about control and manipulative behaviour. So it's like they'll be nice, so they can manipulate. You can't just go in and straight manipulate someone. You've got to like get them on board, and then they'll make the move. They can't last that charade of being lovely and nice. It soon wears thin.
But they don't like being called out on it. And one of the worst things you can do is call a narcissist out, especially in public, because this facade that they've built up, this caretaking person or whichever persona they've adopted, it's so important to them. They're not going to let it go. So if you call them out in public, it becomes a danger of everyone else turning against you, because this narcissist is well adapted at playing the victim, so they'll just call you out for it.
They've done it all their lives. The experts said that it's not a new game to them. They're like expert level. So they'll play you. If you're like a person, they thrive off people like that. You don't ask too many questions. You're not bothered about leading. It's just you're gonna be a magnet. You think the best of people. That's the people to go for. If you like using cliches, I quite like using cliches. But they cut out the questioning. You just like null avoiding your critical thinking process by already having thought it through years ago by using a cliche because it made sense then. It don't always make sense now. It's best going over it for what it is.
Yeah. And not spending too much time trying to make sense of it, because there isn't any sense of it. I think when people have been hurt by a narcissist, especially a covert narcissist, it's really hurtful for people. It's very damaging because they've been fooled all this time. They really have the wool pulled over their eyes, and what tends to happen is when suddenly that wool's lifted, and you see it for what it is, then first of all you can't trust your own judgment anymore, because you feel like, how did this obvious, what seems obvious now, fool me for so long. I've lost my train of thought. Sorry. So yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I'm just saying that it can be disturbing for people once they've found out that a covert narcissist has been playing them for so long.
Well, the first thing is to realise that you're dealing with a narcissist, and then realising that you can't change a narcissist. That's just the way they are. So then you got to reassess your expectations from what you're going to get from this person, because they are what you see. But you got to see what they are first to get there. It's a tricky one, like understanding the issues you face. Oh, why doesn't this person understand me? Or why doesn't this person like feel my pain? Why would they do such a thing? But they just don't care. They don't think like you. So it's like you're wasting your fucking time if you think you're going to change them, because you're not going to. So then just like be happy with what you're getting or move on.
Yeah. I mean, that's sound advice, isn't it? But you can understand why people are so mystified by it, and do want to know all these answers, and do want to know all the whys.
Well, like society is perfectly set up now for the narcissist, because they can get to the top. If you don't care about people hiring and firing, and you just want to they're good for getting the job done. So if you're in management or a CEO, or like all these like world leaders are all narcissists. They have to be. So it's like everything's set up for them to thrive and succeed and get far in life, just because they don't care about people. So it's like there's just more of them about, and there's going to continue to be more of them.
Do you think so? Why do you think that is?
Well, just all things are with kids and all they grow up these days with, like, the possessions, and they advertise on TV, getting at the kids, so the kids get at the parents. I want this, you know, and it's like, I mentioned earlier, instantly pleasing, getting instant pleasure from objects, and then you get your social media and Snapchat, and you're getting likes from your posts, and it's just like pleasing, but without much interaction. So you're just like creating monsters, really. I mean, I grew up, like, this has come to me in later life, and I'm like proper hooked into it all. It's really addictive. So all of these like young 17, 18-year-olds who get into it, they haven't really lived a life. They're just gonna be living a life through social media.
Where there are no real feelings and no empathy. And
everything's distance, isn't it?
So it's a perfect breeding ground for narcissism, basically.
Yeah. Just getting your likes, posts, and you're just getting that, like, oh, it's not, 50 likes on this post, oh, buzzing. I do it myself, so it's like just feeding that part of your. It's an ego. It's connected. It must be connected to the ego.
So yeah, I would say so. I have come across a few narcissists in my time, and they do tend to have inflated egos, and inflated, ideas about themselves. I think they're much more important than what they really are. So yeah, I do think that social media does play a big part in breeding narcissism. And especially the whole selfie thing. Everybody's constantly selfie, and it's like, they can't take a photograph without putting themselves in it. Now, before there was a mobile phone, you couldn't take a photograph with yourself in it. It was about other people, about capturing the moment, and you had to have a tripod and a timer to get yourself in a photograph. But now they're only putting themselves in it. No one else is getting a look in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, selfie sticks and things like that. It's like, look at me.
Yeah. So, social media should come with a warning sticker. If you continue with social media, so just don't get too engrossed in social media. And it's not if you. I sound like I'm preaching now, but I'm about to preach. But I'm not preaching. I'm just taking it from my own perspective, because I have social media. I have Facebook. I've got YouTube. I've even got a Twitter account that I go on occasionally. But don't let it take over your life. And it's not about all the likes. Be social, not antisocial.
Yeah, interact on your posts, try and create provocative thoughts from people, and that's what I do with my posts, and try and get a conversation going, and I can learn something other than just what I think about the subject, and that, that's the beauty of social media.
Well, we're talking about social media, and I'm quite interested in the truth movement. I hate that title, but I'm a conspiracy theorist. I like that one. But some people say they deal in conspiracy facts or whatever. But I like looking into things and seeing if it stands up to reality. I'll put it like that. And I completely forgot where I'm going. I was saying I was going to preach, weren't I? But I wasn't going to preach. But I can't remember what I was going to say, so I might have been. I'll come back to it after.
Yeah, you're a conspiracy theory. Well, I like to use the term conspiracy truther. Because it's like, if it makes sense to you, then it can be your truth. If something that you're being told just doesn't make any sense and doesn't stand up to scrutiny, then, you know, I think they can be dismissed quite easily.
Well, what I was going to say, thank you for reminding me, is that people in the truth movement, whatever you call it, or whatever you want to call it, you know, they've come across this conspiracy, they've come across this new information, they think it's great, they want to tell the world, and they feel like they've got so much to tell the world, you know, and that the world would be a better place if everybody knows what they know, that in my observations, people stop listening. They just put out the wrong thought, the wrong idea, and they don't listen to what other people have got to say. And I think it's really important to keep listening to people. It doesn't matter if they haven't come to the same realizations as you. It doesn't matter if they haven't realized 9/11's wasn't an inside job, or, you know, a huge pantomime. What matters is that you're having an interaction with another human being, and just because they're not necessarily on the same wavelength as you doesn't mean that there's nothing to learn from that person. Everybody's got something to give. You know, don't be so full of your own importance. And that, I think that's what happens with social media, you know, and the whole narcissism thing. People become full of their own importance. And it gives you an inflated sense of ego and an inflated sense of self, and it's a trap. This is part of the psyop, in my imagination, you know, in my opinion. So,
well, is that what Facebook is put there for, and YouTube? Is it there to channel us all towards narcissism? But then, if you create real friendships, then you do feel empathy towards. It's a difficult world to be in if you don't empathise with people.
Yeah, of course.
Then you're trying to get your opinion from an understanding point of view.
Yeah, and I just don't think it happens very regular on social media.
Yeah.
And, you know, it gets to the point where even if you're on the same, very similar path as someone, and you're thinking similar things, and you're agreeing on certain topics. I've lost my train of thought again. We'll come back to it. I don't know what's going on tonight. Someone's zapping me with the G5.
Well, I think like that goes back to the narcissism again. Just controlling. Like just because they're a narcissist, when you first meet them, you might be agreeing with them on all levels, but the more you learn about someone and develop a friendship, and then you find things that you might disagree on. You might not even disagree on. It's just you're different people. There's nothing you can do about
that. Yeah. So yeah, be careful with your relationships on social media, because social media does breed narcissistic behaviour. It can bring out narcissistic behaviour within yourself, and it's the perfect hunting ground for narcissists, because they can give you all the loves and all the likes and make you feel, you know, make you gravitate towards this person because you feel like they've got some connection with you, and that, you know, they're really into you, but they're just a narcissist. So careful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they can lead you into doubting yourself. Well, it's like you give your energy to these narcissists because they're undermining you. You feel like you got to try and prove yourself to them, but you're just wasting that energy. You may as well give the best energy to the best people and like give it to people who deserve it, who we tend to neglect when we've got like these narcissists in our lives, because they want all your attention. That's their purpose, to be there when it suits them, at least.
Yeah, you're just there to serve them.
Yeah.
In the narcissist world, everything's all about them. So, according to medical news today, a narcissistic trait is that they find it difficult maintaining healthy relationships. So I can imagine it would be difficult having a healthy relationship when you've got an unhealthy mental disorder. So
Well, there's a victim involved then, isn't there?
there is.
Unless two
The
narcissists go out together, and then it's going to be like a boxing match every day of their lives.
Yeah, I hadn't actually considered that. You know, if two narcissists wind up together, because I'm always thinking from um, an empathic point of view, because I do care about people and I do feel people's emotions, and so it I hadn't actually considered, oh, what happens when two narcissists, you know, hook up together? Because I'm thinking in my head, oh, narcissist, consciously or subconsciously, is always on the lookout for a victim, someone they can control. But every now and again, they must bump into someone like them.
Yeah, it's like a constant battle, and well, you can just play it out in your mind. It would just be awful, but would they realise that with someone very similar to themselves, or they'd just be like undermining each other constantly, trying to grapple for control? I could.
Yeah, I imagine they would both be calling each other a narcissist. And each one saying, you're a narcissist, no, you're a narcissist, like that. So, yeah, I can imagine it being quite a fiery, temperamental relationship, two narcissists together. I don't ever want to be in the same room as two narcissists at the same time. I don't think I could handle it.
No.
What other traits do they got? Oh, yeah, well, we kind of touched on this with social media, the whole social media thing, but even outside of social media, they're always like seeking out praise and positive reinforcement. Now, what do you think that actually stems from, Aaron?
It stems from like not being given love and things like that, I think. So it's like the empathy hasn't developed when they're a child, so it's just me, and everybody else just put there to serve them, and so they're basically just children, haven't developed emotionally. So they're like childlike in their actions, but they're usually quite clever people. So you know, you don't really see it till maybe they lose a temper or something, or you call them out and then you see the real child in them.
So they're like somebody stuck in the terrible twos. You know, they have to have everything all the wrong way, and if they don't, then there's going to be a tantrum.
Yeah,
or some form of backlash.
Yeah, it's like they're just missing something.
Yeah, empathy.
Yeah, empathy. That's just it. But it's a big trait. I mean, it's part of being human. So I just being empathetic, well, I like to consider myself like I can understand people and empathise. So I try and put myself in their shoes, and it's difficult. But just researching it has given me a lot more, a wider expanse of view to all the traits that they do have, and just thinking about it over moments in time, thinking, oh, well, that rings true, that rings true. So, yeah, it's worth having a look into, because I mean, it's quite an high population suffers from it. Some people say between 10 and 15%, and I can only see that going up the way things are.
Yeah,
materialistic world.
Modern society, it's an evil system, isn't it? It really messes with people. But you know, before when you were saying narcissist created, you know, it's and you could not be a narcissist all your life, but then become one.
Yeah.
But if you can become one, then surely you can become not one. You know, like if you've not become a narcissist till you're 30, surely you can reverse that mental disorder that you've just picked up off Facebook.
But they don't want to. That's the key. they like it. It's not like
it's like,
they're getting pleasure from the way they are. That it's like self-serving, but get other people to do it for you. So it's like it's just the older brain works has rewired itself to get pleasure from. They've got low self-esteem, so I think that's quite an important factor. So that stems a lot from child or past relationships, a trauma. So I mean, you can have parents who. I listened to a story earlier, but say like parents who go to school and cheer them on sports day or at football practice, but when they're at home and they want you to read a book with them, they haven't got time for that. So the intimacy's not there, but the support's like overwhelming support when they're in a crowd, but when they're just one-on-one, it's like you don't want that, to give that child that attention. So that brings on this, they don't develop to empathise. So it's like when we're kids, we're just a blank canvas, and little things have a massive effect. Even though we feel like we're doing the right thing, just little mistakes that, you know, is there a book on this or to bring up your children? I presume there are. But,
yeah, but something like that, it's quite extreme behaviour. I have seen it in some people actually, in some family. I'll be popular at the next Christmas dinner, but you know, they look like loving, supporting parents. You know, they turn up at the swim meet and the parents' evening, but at home they're completely absent. They completely emotionally neglect the child or the children. So I have seen that. That's just part of the narcissistic cover. You know, they put on an act in where they think it's necessary in public when, you know, they think people are judging them, but in private they're completely different. So yeah, that must be very damaging for children, and I can see how that's going to keep on perpetuating the narcissism. So if the parents are narcissists and they're not or showing any empathy, any love to the child, you know, just emotionally neglecting them and just putting on a front when other people are there, yeah, that's going to be very damaging. So,
teach the child to look inward and to relate on a loving level is just, it sounds simple, but people are missing little things like that. It's like kids are a chore, you know, and it shouldn't be the way, but when you're working all week, and I can see it being easy, you know, just give them an iPad or something, that'll do.
yeah, or chalk ice and, you know, TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see how that might happen, especially with the way that we live and we are separated from each other for long periods of the day and all that. But yeah,
So like deconstructing the family unit has massive detrimental, like, you know, effects on society, and it's just people just go along and then they worry about it after it's happened, but it's happening right now, and it's been happening for a while. You know, they go on, oh, snowflakes, you know, you corner them on a subject and they just like can't handle it. But these people are gonna continue like this. They ain't gonna grow out of it. That's the way they are. So it's frightening.
yeah, it's a shame, really. It's
Everyone's
very sad.
like a reactionary, you know, rather than just thinking about things for a moment.
Hmm.
So, but that's like, but it's all purposefully, and
Well, yeah.
we're taking notice really, because we like, you know, it's like we're reading articles now that are 15 years old, and like this is like latest stuff because it takes that long for us to get this information. But what about what's happening right now that isn't being talked about? You know, like just talk about it, observe ourselves, not just about the earth and the sky, but society and what damage they're actually doing.
Yeah, and like you said, observe yourself. That's got to be the first person you start with, surely.
Yeah, self-diagnostic. They're just like test yourself. You
Yeah,
don't the scrutiny.
yeah. Even test yourself against narcissism. Do the narcissist test. 6 quick questions,
Yeah,
and even if you don't get the answers you want, and it's pointing towards, oh, I'm a narcissist. It might not necessarily mean that you're a narcissist, but just at this moment in time, you're showing a lot of narcissistic traits. And if you can relate back to what it is that's maybe causing that, then you might be one step closer to not going full blown narcissist.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it must start somewhere. Or do you wake up one day and that just, if you have empathy, and then can it be taken away, or is it something you develop later in life, or is it something you're born with?
Well, if empathy is so deeply embedded, or the lack of empathy is so deeply embedded in the narcissistic traits, narcissism, and narcissism is created, then surely empathy um, is a bit of both nurture and nature.
Well, I said
Because
dinner with the kids and that, so was it? Well, it must be from. I think this someone mentioned 4-year-old. It's like that's when you empathy sort of develops. But like the kids are getting too off the parents and stuck in schools. So, I mean, it's more of this. There is no connection there, is there? You're just told sit there and bloody do whatever do your colouring in, or
yeah, do 10 times table.
I don't know what they teach 4-year-olds, but and all the
Teach loads of ball. That's what they teach them.
oh yeah, that's it. Global
So
brainwashing.
yeah, the family unit then is very important, is what you were saying, because I wasn't expecting to talk about this tonight, but it's like the foundation of society. If if everyone, society needs to work together, to come together, to work together, to get along together. But if everybody's foundation is broken and everyone's from broken homes, or the family unit is being picked apart one way or another, then they're not going to be able to work along to get along, because that's what families do. Families learn to live with each other, learn to get along with each other, learn to look after each other. But if that's not there, then you cannot apply that to society. So society is not going to be able to live with each other and get along with each other and look after each other.
No, because that's like your foundation, like you say. So if you haven't got that, it's like, what have you got? It's just that the way things are. It's like, how lost could you actually? You couldn't make it up. Ultimately, the human race lost. This is how we go about it, and they just played it out perfect. I wouldn't know where else to go from here to make it any worse. I don't think they could.
Well, I think everyone should adopt that mindset, and imagining that this is the limit. They can't make it any worse. Because I believe that thoughts are very powerful things, and even though it's built on a negative thing, the thought itself is positive, because when you're posting doom and gloom all day, you start envisioning in your mind like these end of world scenarios. Do you know what I mean? And then those things are going to come true. So
Yeah, well, like firing up the furnaces for the New World Order Forum, like putting the word out. It's like, if it weren't for us truthers, would people know about the New World Order and all this doom and gloom? They'd be oblivious to it. So I know what you're saying, like manifesting our own reality. Are we doing that by making people aware of what's going on? Is it just amplifying it?
I think I personally believe it must have an effect on the amplification of it. It has to, because even though every time someone looks at one of those posts, even if they just glance through it, that's a subconscious signal into their brain, you know.
Yeah.
So it has to have an effect. So I'm not a big fan of always posting doom and gloom. If I go on social media, I don't post a lot of stuff. I like to mix it up with some putting out some positive vibes, you know, sending some just positivity to people, something that's gonna make them feel good. You know, not posting constantly about pedos in Parliament, because that just brings people down, and you're just embedding that into their mind. And so in the future, it's just going to continue with pedos in Parliament. Now, if I never post anything again about pedos or Parliament, hopefully sometime in the future there'll be no pedos and no Parliament.
Well, we like normalising it, you know, like making it, going over it again, but just like getting people used to pedos in Parliament. It's no one's surprised anymore.
Exactly. It's a very, very clever trick.
Yeah, like like the gays. What's it called? The LGBT, and then they're on about putting paedophiles, and we've been on about this for years now. And now it's like becoming more and more like reliable news sources putting stuff out about it. Before it was just like real out there people saying it, or they found some new world order plan, but now it's coming to fruition, like it's actually happening. So
Yeah.
we just like doing the job for them again, like I say.
I think it's a possibility that we are.
And that's we're
say
rushing
so.
new world order for it.
We're rushing it through because, you know, the power of thought's one thing, but once you've written those symbols on the page or the screen, it's like you're setting it in stone. So, in my opinion, I just think people should be careful with the words and careful with the thoughts.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not saying go all new age hippie and just ignore all the bad shit in the world and pretend nothing's going on. I'm just saying that there's only so much good you can do posting it, you know, into the general public subconscious before you do some damage, is what I think.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because like you want to feel like you're doing something, but you know, if you could really see how far your reach was going, would you continue what you're doing? Because I don't think it goes as far as what you think. To who, you know, anyone outside, you're trying to reach people outside your circle, aren't you? Like get them questioning the reality, but is Facebook so and you know, is it all so tightly stitched up that that's not possible?
Certainly Facebook, because what people do is they only friend people that have similar interests and similar ways about them as themselves. But people just build these little echo chambers, so where everyone will agree with them and no one's going to disagree with them or challenge them in any way. Everyone's just going to be liking it and loving it, you know, tickling your ego. So yeah, it brings us back to narcissism again, and how social media breeds narcissism.
Yeah.
And how social media should come with a warning sign. I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
You know, on it. You may become a narcissist.
You may become a narcissist, but you'll definitely become an addict. That should be the new Facebook slogan.
That's gone, yeah. Write that down. Yeah, you may become a narcissist.
Yeah.
May.
But you shadow bands.
But that's the thing I think, you know, about social media. It's very, very dangerous, you know, and you shouldn't play on it all the time because it's just like crack. It will, you know, mess your head up, and it's super addictive. So it can get you thinking in all kinds of paranoid ways, and then behaving in all kinds of egotistical ways, you know, out of character, things that you wouldn't necessarily have been, you know, you wasn't that way before. So
Well, like I say, dealing with some professional like trolls or people just waiting for the moment, and they'll come and say the piece and just trying to get a reaction out of you, and they do get a reaction out of you sometimes. They're good at what they do, but you just got to see it for what it is. Well, it's difficult when you're in the moment, like, but it's best not saying too much.
You know the LGBT XYZ.
Yeah.
How that whole movement seems very narcissistic to me. Now, I'm not talking about people in the community, but you know the whole media thing, and then just all the attention grabbing. But if you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's just so much attention grabbing. It looks very narcissistic. Very people, very self-centered and shallow.
Well, that's where your grandeur narcissist comes into it, where they like larger than life. They wear all the finest clothes and have their hair done £100 a time, £120 shades on. You know, look at me. That's your grandeur type of narcissist. So it's like feeding right into that. So it has been infiltrated. You can't tell me any different. So you can make of that what you want. It's a New World Order agenda.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Mm.
In the sense that it's an agenda and it's there to manipulate people's behaviours. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like a time of confusion and self-doubt. That's what all this, you know, that's the way we're going. And it's just another way of fucking confusing people.
That's what I was going to ask you before. You know, you just mentioned low self-doubt. Before you were talking about narcissists having low self-esteem. How would somebody with a low self-esteem have a huge ego? I don't understand it.
Well, it's a superficial ego. It's not like it's just an act, isn't it?
Right.
Like
Okay.
it's something that can never be satisfied. So they look for outward praise, you know, to justify who they are.
Yeah, I understand it now. So yeah, because of this all the acting that they do in public and to other people, it's that is just feeding the superficial ego.
But
It's not even
they target certain individuals who they know that they're gonna be able to manipulate or ain't gonna question them too much. So it's not an accident that find that you draw in narcissists because they probably see you as a target. You know, you tick all the boxes, perhaps.
what kind of person would look attractive to a narcissist? You know, what kind of people do you think they gravitate to? The victims.
Someone who's just happy being there. You know, don't ask too much, don't ask too many questions. Don't want to lead. You know, just happy to let someone else take over the reins. I mean, with family and things, it's not really a choice. It's just a situation you've got to deal with.
So talking about family then, so because it's you know, I keep going back to this narcissist being bred, you know, and being created. Uh, is it possible for a narcissistic parent to have not a regular child that's not narcissistic? Because surely the narcissistic parent's not going to be able to show this child any real love.
They say narcissistic parents shouldn't mate because they're just going to create a cycle of narcissistic children, and it's just going to go on and on.
Right. But then it's quite possible for one of the parents not to be a narcissist. So one just got unlucky and married a narcissist, and then you've got your children. So the children are going to be getting that quality love from one of the parents at least. So
That's what probably keeps a lot of relationships with narcissists together, you know, for the sake of the children.
So you were just going to talk about family then. What was you going to say?
I'm not really sure where I ever want to go too deep into that. It's just my family's got a narcissist in it. But just by researching it, it's made me more aware of it. I've always had issues, but I've never really understood why, and now it makes a lot more sense because there's no empathy there. You just can't make someone empathise if they haven't got empathy. So it's just realising that, and then that sort of makes it easier to deal with. Stop trying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't stop wasting your time.
yeah, because that feeds them. The best thing you can do is basically don't feed them. Don't really like engage in the conversation. Just like if you got someone who talks all the time, overtakes conversation on the phone, like you take over control of the conversation. Don't let them talk back, and just have some bullet points and just keep going and going. And it's like don't give them an opportunity to hang up and just talk about you rather than them and keep changing the subject. So that's
Playing at the wrong game, is that what you're
all
saying?
good, yeah.
Just very quickly, Aaron, we forgot that and there may be an audience out there. So, anyone listening, I just want to say good evening. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. We're talking about narcissists this evening from all angles because me and Aaron have gone full 360-degree Masons, and we're looking at everything in life from every angle possible from now on. Because it's the only way to really to get a full view of what's going on, and you can't defend yourself against the evils in the world if you don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah, just be aware, and it's sometimes so obvious. It's like, oh, I missed this, but if you're just not really aware of it, you just because a lot of the time you think it's you and you blame yourself, and it's like, why is this way? It must be something I'm doing, and that's what they want you to do. You just playing in their game their way then. So it's just like take a step back, understand what you're dealing with, and then you can tackle the problem.
I wanted to go back to the family unit because we were talking about it before and how important the foundations of family are for not creating, psychos and narcissists. And the family unit, it is attacked from so many angles. It's not just about divorced parents and, combined families and stepmoms and things like this. It's really attacked on a lot of levels, and what a major level is keeping people apart from each other. So for not creating. I just had an echo there. Sorry. So just we're kept apart so much. So even if there is a mum and a dad in the home, they'll either both be working or one will be working long hours. The kids are sent to school for most of the week, and the only time parents are seeing the kids is like to dress them, feed them, and put them to bed. That's it. So there's no quality time there. And then you've got things like the television,
Netflix,
which is a distraction from anybody's family life, iPads, games consoles. My biggest pet hate in life is feminism, and I think that's attacked the family unit. I think that went for the jugular, really.
it worked perfectly as well. So it's like they're just putting things out there, ideas, and people just go for it up line and sink. There's always someone ready to take the bait. And it's just division, and it's always division. It's never bringing people together. It might appear that way on the surface, but it's always bringing one set group of people together. There's nothing like versatile across the board. That's all unite under this one, like, you know, umbrella. It's like, but there's nothing like that. It's all pigeoned off, compartmentalised.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to watch our discussion on compartmentalisation, I think that was week 2. You'll find it in the videos. Oh, see, I'm a professional.
Yeah, sell it.
So, oh, yeah, poor humans. It's looking like a sad state of affairs here, Aaron.
I know, the more we delve and the deeper we get, it's like the more fucked and screwed over we're getting. But it's not just the older people and the old, like, you know, the old age, the middle age are getting fucked over. Now the young are getting fucked over, and the teenagers and the little kids. So it's all across the board. I mean, we should be standing up for this, you know, because we're aware of it, but no one seems to be doing anything. So
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, there are people out there, like, you know, talking to other people and trying to bring awarenesses, you know, to the general public. But it's difficult because we don't have the means that the system has. You know, they just being something to is in full control, and everybody watches it and falls under the spell. But if you want to take something to the general public, you've got to take it to the streets first. You know, you've got to talk to real people in real time, and just try and help that way.
yeah,
But yeah,
see what the word on the street is, and people know something's wrong, but it's like they don't know where to focus. But wherever you focus, it's like it's really bad. So it's wherever you look, the more you look, it's like it is. Someone was saying it's depressing, and it's like I sort of said, no, it's enlightening to realise what's going on, and then you can change it. You know, you can do something about it once you realise the problem. That's where it all starts. You know, trying to make people aware of this, and then hopefully they'll take notice. But all we can do, well, I don't see what else we can do at this moment in time. You know.
am I back? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you're back. You're back.
Yeah, my microphone turned itself off again. Um, so I was just trying to say there that well, you said you don't know what people, you know, what we can do, but I was saying, just keep doing what you're doing, keep planting seeds, because they will grow, and things will change, and stay positive. You know, I'm not saying ignore all the bad shit in the world, but be careful with how you present it to people, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's trying to find some common ground. So it's like ask questions about them and try and find it. Well, it's like as you put all this across to someone and not sound crazy who's never looked into it, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, but you've got to try and first get on that level with them, haven't you? Otherwise, they're just going to reject everything you say. If you can't even get yourself on their wavelength, they're not going to be able to receive your message.
No, so it's all about asking the right questions. But it's you know, people don't want the boat rocked, do they? Just happy to
I
continue.
don't like rocking boats. I
No,
must say.
it's difficult to rock the boat. It's a difficult way of living your life, but it's like you are who you are. So it's better to rock the boat than to stay on the boat and not rock it if it's sinking.
I'll have to try and picture that, Aaron. I don't know. Yeah. So let's go back to narcissists then, because that is the topic of this evening's discussion. To anybody that's listening, we are talking about narcissism and what is a narcissist. How can you identify one? Are there any ways of dealing with one? Are you one? Yeah, it's a very extreme kind of personality. When you look at it on paper in full, it's very extreme. But these, we mentioned before, covert narcissists, they're very good at covering themselves, camouflaging themselves. That's what they do, camouflage, and tend to be something that they're not, and it's very believable. So yeah, narcissists, dangerous people apparently. There's been quite a lot of well, what am I saying? There's been quite a lot. The most famous people are more than likely narcissistic. No,
Yeah.
but
like all of the Hollywood people will be narcissists. I think they have to be to just put themselves up there. It's like, look at me. That's just the perfect example of one.
Madonna, there's a perfect example.
Yeah, anyone really. It's just all fame and fortune. Sold the souls for airtime.
Well, just having a quick flick through the history books now, and I'll reel off some of the more famous narcissists through history, and you won't be surprised who they are because they're generally bad guys. So Alexander the Great, he was considered a narcissist. He only cared about his own personal ambitions. He had no remorse for all the bloodshed it caused, and just not a very nice person. He named loads of cities after himself, and the one that he didn't name after himself, he named after his horse. So, yeah, it's funny.
Well, just look at all the members of parliament there. You've got, 360 narcissists. Right.
Oh, now, let me just say something, because you've just triggered my thoughts. Why do you think there's 360 members of parliament? Why 360?
It's just a figure that popped in my head. There's probably more.
Oh, right, you just made it up.
I've just made it up. Just run with me. This isn't all actual. That's another disclaimer.
So, what am I saying? You was going to say, look at the members of parliament. Yeah, they all look like narcissists.
Yeah, they're all like self-serving, aren't they? Like doing shady things behind the scenes to make more money. Like, get some Gwen Towers on the great uncle's land and paying 25 grand a year for the line rent, and get some wind turbines on the land, get another 25 grand per wind turbine for ground rent, and it's just all about serving themselves, and there's no guilt there because that's the people that they've been picked for being, because they don't care about anyone else other than themselves, or maybe their immediate family, but I don't even think they care too much about them. So does the general public stand a chance?
Yeah, it's they've completely flipped it on the head, haven't they? And it definitely goes along with narcissistic behaviour, because they're supposed to be public servants, supposed to be serving us, but they serve themselves, and they've got us serving them.
That couldn't be any further from the truth than that label, could it? A public servant. They don't serve the public whatsoever. Yeah, it's crazy, and we just put up with it. You just hear about the scandals, and every local newspaper's reporting something on their own, like town, and some, it's like a constant thing going on, and it's just seen as normal, and like, yeah, big scandals in the past for you know, not even half one of these things that goes on like a weekly basis everywhere. It's like it's just normal. They're just the power to themselves. No one, they don't answer to anyone. You know, it's like suspended or something. You know, they never like get put in jail or anything. And they're committing real crimes for real money.
Real crimes.
Proper crimes, not
And
like,
they're not
you know,
worried about anyone coming to lock them up.
selling a bit of weed. You know, fucking these guys are dealing like people smuggling, all kinds of horrible things, prostitution, all kinds of things.
Yeah, and they're not worried about it at all. They're not, you know, because it's in the public domain. People know about it, and still nothing's happened. So they're not worried about going to prison. And as far as I'm concerned, they're playing by different rules.
Yeah, they're like born into them rules, so they're like as free as can be because they're just a law to themselves. They get away with murder. So
Yeah. Well, talking of getting away with murder, Henry VIII was a narcissist, and he was absolutely obsessed with his own looks and you know his appearance. He demanded to have a son, and only for political reasons. It wasn't, you know, 'cause he wanted to be a father. Just it was going to better his position. Um, and you know, he killed his wives when they looked at him wrong. So, classic case of narcissism there.
yeah, I mean, who want to be king?
Well, I don't know if you can behave like that and get away with it. I'll have a go. Napoleon, another narcissist, apparently. Now, you know Napoleon complex, there's a term called Napoleon complex.
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was because he was short and it was just like another way of saying like small man syndrome, you know, little man complex. But apparently it's because of his behaviour and he's just like over the top aggressive. So if it's you don't have to be small to have Napoleon complex, is what I'm trying to say. You can be 6'4" and still have it. It's about your behaviour and your aggression, and it's yeah, basically.
Yeah, ability to take no for an answer.
Mm-hmm. So apparently, like you said, it stems from feelings of inferiority and low self-esteem. Wow, these people are really good actors, but I just couldn't pull it off.
Well, they have to act because they feel dead inside. They're like nothing inside them, so they have to create this persona.
I feel dead inside, Aaron, but I can't create a persona like this. You know what I mean? I can't go walking.
To create another persona, you'd have to put heart into it, but there is no art, so they're not able to put that in there, so they just create anything.
I don't feel dead inside, viewers. I'm quite fulfilled with life at the moment, so if anyone was concerned about my mental health. Adolf Hitler, another classic narcissist. There's so much propaganda about Adolf Hitler, though. I don't know whether to believe he's the best guy in the world and how can he possibly be a narcissist, or is a, you know, evil, murdering megalomaniac. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to believe about Adolf Hitler. I think he's just an actor, and if he's an actor, then he's definitely a narcissist.
Well, they have to portray him in a certain way to get people's opinion on the, like, you know, everyone on the same page. So they're portraying as a monster, some raging lunatic. But like, he was an artist. Like I said, what would have happened if he'd been successful as an artist? Would he have been this tyrant that painted him out to be? And would he have been a narcissist then?
Who knows? Yeah, if his dad just showed him a bit more attention.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, like, you know, is painting part of empathy? You putting a piece of yourself on the paper. Is a narcissist capable of creating artwork?
Which is why I think he must be an actor. Not solely for that reason, but it doesn't really, I don't know, just because you're a mass murderer doesn't mean you've not got some artistic talent.
No, no, perhaps I'm getting
No.
them.
I mean, the whole art of war, it's an art, to
Yeah,
these guys, it's the
exactly.
best. Yeah,
And controlling people and getting to do what you want, like getting the job done. They're all narcissistic traits.
yeah. So is it decided then? Hitler was a narcissist?
Yeah, he was definitely a narcissist. To try
Yeah.
and pull a tash off like that, you have to be a bit of a narcissist somewhere along the line.
Well, I've got another cracking moustache in Joseph Stalin.
Oh, so we can relate facially to narcissism now, can we?
Oh yeah, if you've got an old top moustache, you're a narcissist. According to Thrive and Talk, not me and Aaron.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with personal grooming and making yourself look nice. But spending 3 hours in the mirror titivating your beard, it's too much. That's not manly to me. I like your beard. I don't like it in those little pretty plaits. So, yeah, what did Stalin get up to? He was a mass murderer, wasn't he? The Great Purge, well, that was him.
yeah, it was a freemason. They're all in it together.
I think it's just a game to play war. I think that's part of the Freemasonic game. I think they're playing the game of life, and the biggest game on in there is the game of war. And like I said before, it's an art and a craft that you spend many years studying, and then they let you loose on the battlefield where real innocent people are just used and abused and murdered, and the bloodshed's horrific just for these people's entertainment, just so someone can come first.
Yeah, it's Masonic wars, and they're just culling the population down. And they're experimenting, seeing how far they can push people, psychological warfare. And, we're being manipulated for centuries. And it'll all be written down, and they'll know exactly how our psyche works. And
Push this button, expect this response.
yeah, and
Yeah, there'll be a formula.
it's all panning out now. They up the volume on the mind control, and they turn it down, and it's up again. And it's like they want to push their opinion across, and then it's saturated with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's difficult to get away from. It's like anything like the radio or TV. There's no chance. They don't necessarily have to be the program you're watching. They put it all in the adverts. It's just all there, subliminal.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah, genius. But they've worked on this for decades. It's like it's what they do.
So, I mean, we're talking now about, famous narcissists, but bringing it back onto our level, narcissists in the general population,
Mm.
do you think they've got it down to a formula in their heads? Do you think it's that calculated for them?
Talking from a narcissistic point of view,
Yeah, from a narcissistic point of view.
that's just all they can. The only way they can be. So it's like they're thriving off it. It's just just all they are. So
So, yeah, then.
yeah.
It sounds really quiet this evening. Like there's usually more background noise here, I think.
Yours or mine?
Yeah, I usually get a lot of feedback. That's why, and it's been quite good so far. Joseph Mengele, another narcissist, and he was well, they called him the Angel of Death during World War II, and he was a doctor, and it was well into all the eugenics and stuff, and he did a lot of experimentation on people, human beings, and he's quite famous for not showing any remorse whatsoever, you know, and just having really cruel behaviour.
Are these not more psychopaths than narcissists, though? Because
well, I'd say it's what you said earlier, that they'll probably fall in the category of psychopaths. Like
yeah,
you said, all narcissists are psychopaths, but these guys we're talking about here, they all seem to share psychopathic behaviours.
or
They're all raging narcissists, so.
Or a sociopath, which is someone who develops into a psychopath. They're not born that way.
What is the difference between sociopaths and psychopaths, Aaron?
A sociopath develops through their environment. They can say, like if you're brought up in a rough area and you're drug dealing and you like getting pulled over by the police all the time, they can like deal with it where they won't get flustered or anything. You know, like cover their emotions and learn to not react emotionally and basically change the way of thinking. So they develop. They're not born that way. They develop through like trauma or upbringing, probably from family again.
And what's different about psychopaths then? So if they got like they're born psychopaths, is it like physiological?
Yeah, it's like the way the brain works. They just don't care about anyone, and they'll just do anything to get what they want, and they don't care about the consequences of their actions either. So,
so they're born that way.
Yeah, they're born that way. I think like they can be in the best upbringing, but they'll still be like antisocial, and the traits of it are stealing, bullying, being violent. Just don't give a fuck.
Deviant behaviour.
Yeah, before like the age of 15. So I mean, I used to do quite a few of them things. But I think they've also like torture animals and things. You know, I didn't do stuff like that. But so I mean, as a child, I could have probably been labelled as a psycho.
Yeah, but they don't grow out of it, and they're born that way. And apparently, they are hardwired. The brains are hardwired that way, and
apparently
it is.
Some doctors are saying they put them under one of these CT scans, and the part of the brain that shows empathy, it just didn't light up at all. It was just like not there.
Mm. Yeah, Victoria Rose has told me that before.
So it's like your first reaction to something is to maybe understand the situation, but they're like going round that because it isn't there. So they'll have another reaction where they might get a violent reaction or a defensive reaction. You're just going straight to that point. So
I want to talk about my favorite narcissist, psychopath, serial killer, Ted Bundy. He was something special. Not in I'm not into as a person, looking at his psychology, the way he carried himself, the way he went about his life, it was something else. Almost sounds like a story. So yeah, Ted Bundy, sorry, psychopathic killer, and basically full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, including grandiosity and manipulation. They're like his
strong traits. Yeah.
I mean, biggest murder case in the century, and he wants to defend himself, and he puts on a whole show for the jury and the judge and everything, and he's got them all leaking out of his hands. So if that's not grandiosity, I don't know what is.
Yeah, he's like, it was his moment right there. He probably, they the reason to be eyed some of his murders was to have his day in court, perhaps.
Oh, I don't know. One thing about Ted Bundy is he always said that he was created. You know, I never would have done this. I was created, and he always blamed it on, at the time, he blamed it on the media. In particular, these like comic books you could get from the store that showed. I said quite a lot. I noticed that it's these comic books that show pornographic torture of women and just real gore, and he was reading them at a young age, and he says it's that what created him. I actually have another theory on serial killers, and with him being so adamant on him being created, I think it actually runs a lot deeper than that. And I don't think that Ted Bundy worked alone. I think a lot of these serial killers were created, and you will find, if you look into them, you'll find that they're all linked in certain ways, whether it be they went to this, you know, they were in the same military units, or same, they were in cults together, you know, like satanic cults.
Maybe that's what happens when two narcissists hit it off. They just like, there is no limit to, you know, what direction they're going in, or psycho, should I say.
I find it fascinating.
It is. I mean, it is really interesting because you see how people's minds work. It's rare that you see someone expose themselves like that.
Well, I'm going to leave a link in the description box this evening for a YouTube channel I really enjoy. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I think it's LOL, as in laugh out loud, LOL Field and Love. And it's a lot of research on a lot of serial killers and the connections that they do have with each other. And a lot of evidence suggesting that many of them weren't actively done what they did alone, but there's always someone that has to take the fall. So if anyone's interested, I'll leave that link in the description box. It is a lot of fascinating information that you can go and check out for yourself.
Well, it's like they get support from high up, innit? You know, these people latch onto each other, and they're encouraged to carry out these sick atrocities, and then it's like they're back out into the shadows again and never to be heard of. But you do hear stories about third people or even more like groups, and then they give it like they'll be. You know, the heat will get too much, and they'll chuck out a fall guy, don't they? And that's where these people come out. They might be a little bit too much. You know, they can't control them, so they just give them up.
Yeah, I think it's all part of the psychological operations they play on the general population, where they want us living in fear. You know, they want people scared out of the wits, so that they don't even speak to the neighbours, you know. So everyone's isolated and alone, so that we're more easy to control. So they imprint this fear in on us so deeply, and they have these serial killer sagas, because that's what they are, the sagas. You know, oh, body found in Mystic Falls, or wherever, that's a TV program. You know, and then, oh, another body found, you know, 3 miles from the last one. And it becomes this living drama that the whole of that town, city, country is following day in, day out. Do you remember, not long ago in Britain, it was in the last 10 years, probably about 10 years ago, there was that string of murders of, it was reported in the news that they were all, or most of them were working girls, and they were all strangled. It was somewhere down south, and then dumped on the side of the road. And it was like nearly every morning another body was found, and everyone sat on the edge of the seats.
Was he the crossbow killer with like
no
crossbow?
It was before him.
Right. I don't.
Yeah, I thought that was fake, the crossbow killer. I thought there's no way. This is like straight out of a horror movie.
Well, apparently there's been like over 90 suspicious deaths around Manchester in the canals, and they call him. They said there's a canal killer around, and they just find bodies.
Yeah, but you
But
don't hear about that one. You see, they're keeping that from the
yeah,
public's
they
not.
don't want it getting out because this has been going on for 25 years. This, so it's like over 90 people have like mysteriously been found dead in this canal system that runs through Manchester city centre. Now, Birmingham's got like 10 times more canal systems, but like has hardly any deaths. So they said there's like a canal killer, but they play it down. It's like no one hears about it because there's a big student community and they don't want people being scared and stop coming here as a student, you know. But it's always there in the back of your mind. So if you're out in Manchester, what you know, is it going on? Like I said, it's like installing fear in you there.
But yeah, well, this is the opposite of that, isn't it? You know, because this is like something's really going on. It's been going on for a long time, so it kind of a serial killer, really. Would a serial killer still have the same strength and mobility as they did have 25 years ago,
Yeah,
or is this
exactly.
group some organised crime behind this, targeting a certain portion of the population? And there is a theory because it is smack bang in the middle of the gay village in Manchester.
Yeah, street.
Now, and it's a massive tourist destination. It's just basically a strip of pubs and clubs that lots of tourists come to. People will travel out of town to go drinking down Canal Street. So there's a theory that this is targeted crime, targeted towards the gay population in Manchester.
Yeah,
Have you
it
heard
seems
that
to
theory?
be that they are targeting the gay village, but you don't hear much about it. They'll make a BBC Two series about it, you know, just one-off documentary, just playing it down really, and that's all you'll hear about it from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, interesting. So what I was talking about before is the opposite. This isn't keeping it quiet and trying not to let the lid off it and leaving long periods of time in between reporting it so that people don't connect the two things. You know, someone might not see another broadcast, so they might not hear it again for 10 years. So in America, when the serial killing, this whole serial killing thing in America that sprung up, it was really very similar to what happened in England, what I was talking about, those strangled ladies, where it becomes this drama that everyone's embroiled in. Like everyone is waiting for the next dead body to turn up, and everyone's terrified. And anyone could be the murderer. You don't know. It could be dad. It could be your husband. It might be your next door neighbour. So everyone's like living on the nerves. Then it just imprints that again that society's not safe. There's things to be afraid of. So yeah, it's part of the entertainment also, and the word entertainment, if anybody wants it means to be detained while something enters you. And usually, what's entering you is their agenda. And in this case, the agenda is fear, controlling people's movements via
Well,
fear.
they create the fear, so you accept the subliminal messaging that they're giving you more easily. So it's like the fear is part of the programming. It's like it's a necessity. So you accept this information they're pushing forward, and like give up your rights. Really, just think, oh, my government knows best. Everything's shit at the moment. The government will take control. They'll sort it out. They've always sorted it out. So we'll give them
Yeah,
power. They're suggesting we put 10,000 armed troops on all the airports and important like venues. And yeah, cheer it all on. Bring it on. Let's have it. And you're not really questioning. Are they protecting who are they protecting? Are they protecting the general public, or are they protecting people in authority? You know, because they're not really concentrating around the shopping malls. They're concentrating around, like, you know, the fracking centres and things like that. Big business.
Sorry. I thought you were going to continue talking, so I took a bite of chocolate. How unprofessional of me.
Yeah, I just lost where I'm going with that one a little bit.
Well, we were just talking about society and how they embed the fear into us, and you was explaining how the is a necessity and it's part of the programming. The programming wouldn't take as well if the fear wasn't there.
Yeah, it's like everything's for a reason. These false flags or red flags, or however you want to label them, they're just to create a problem, and then they come up with a solution, and it's just that's just all they work, and it's just they're not even hiding it that well. You know, like say if a terrorist attack or something, or a murder or something, and then the cameras are never working, but this selective cameras, they capture everything else, but not anything that involves them.
Yeah, exactly. You can always count on CCTV footage not being available on the days of, you know, these big false flags.
Yeah, they just like it's like everyone's got amnesia these days. It's like you talk about stuff and they don't remember it from like 3 months ago, and they push a news story out, and then they're like banking on that everyone's got amnesia, and after 2-3 weeks it just goes quiet all of a sudden. Then it's never mentioned again, and it's like everyone's like on to the next thing. They come out with something else, then it's like, oh, you know, it's like they forgot about all that in the past. Let's move on to this next thing. It's like everything's about the moment. No one's got any memory.
Well, that used to puddle me when I was a kid because, you know, you'd get the headlines in the newspapers, and every summer it would be, oh, it's going to be it's record breaking temperatures this summer. Every summer, record breaking temperatures, and every winter it was record breaking lows. And I'm thinking, how long do they get? We break a record every year, and vice versa. So I twigged quite early on that they would repeat the same narrative all the time, all the time. And when I was at school, well, was I at school or college or somewhere? I was doing media studies, and I found out that the news agencies, you know, the big media corporations that like the BBC and Sky and NBC and all these things, there's no actual law written that says that they have to tell the truth. And people, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I was just gonna say that makes a lot of sense because
Yeah, there's no law. But you know, according to my teachers when I was at school, college, whatever, there was no law saying that the news people have to tell the truth. Now, I've tried explaining to people as an adult, and they find it really hard to accept. In fact, well, they won't accept it on most occasions that the news shows, I even forget what to call them, I don't watch them, would tell lies or exaggerate something, or, you know, and just try and read between the lines with them and see what message it is they're really trying to send you. Yeah, they think that everything has to be, well, a bit like me, because even though I've always been suspicious minded of the control system, I thought a map had to be a map. You know, I was told that the news people didn't have to tell you the truth. They taught that in this media studies course. But in my head, I thought a map had to be a true representation of a landmass, you know, all scaled down to size and everything. And that was my wake up call to realizing that we don't live on a spinning ball.
well,
So, yeah, I can't understand.
it's like the maps. like it's the grandeur thing comes in. Like America sees itself as this powerful player, so it's like 3 times bigger than it really is on the map to like give it an impression of size and power. You know, it's like the true size of it isn't relatable to what they put on the map, but so it's just all smoke and mirrors. Like it's like mind games on everything.
Shocking. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I found out that a map didn't have to be a map, and you could just pretty much make their own country as big as they wanted.
Well, they use the word projection, don't they? It's a projection, but they use it loosely. They don't really go into that part of it. It's just this is it. This is what we live. This is here. That's there, and get used to it.
Absolutely.
Accept the information. Don't question it.
Yeah, that program didn't take too well, did it? Well, it does with a lot of people, but some people just question everything, and I'm glad that they do.
It's nice having the ability to question everything, but it all starts somewhere, doesn't it? It's like you can reject something, but you're not actually questioning it. You just dismiss it. It's nice to be able to actually break it down and try and understand how it works. I mean, like you said, the language and everything's controlled, like spelling and wordplay, and it's just we're proper lost.
But it's okay. I have hope, a beacon of hope. We're not.
Like, finding ourselves has to start somewhere, doesn't it? It's like we're going to have to turn this on to authorities and say we want some answers.
Well, no, not at all. See, I'm completely the opposite. I just think we should be left to our own devices to find our own answers. You can't. I know what you're saying. You want answers about where you are and stuff like that. But you've got to find questions about yourself out for yourself. You know. Did that make sense then?
Yeah.
So yeah. That was a silence.
I'm just trying to go through what you said then and make an opinion on it. Well, I was just.
If it made sense, I'm not sure if I got my point across very well.
Yeah, I just couldn't come back with anything with that one.
Let's go back to narcissists because we've kind of wandered off track a little bit. Yeah, it's nice to go off on a tangent. It's natural, you know, follow your natural thought processes and just see where they lead you.
Yeah, there's no like set schedule. That's what I think we've done well to get this far with it.
Yeah, we've been on for ages and I don't feel like stopping yet. So do you mind staying on a bit longer, Aaron?
Yeah, I can stay on this a little bit longer.
Okay then. See, there's the narcissist coming out in me again. I wanna be adored. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was me singing.
Yeah, I think we all wanted to be adored when we were growing up. It's like for the right reasons.
Well, I had the strangest thing with wanting an injury when I was a kid. I've never broke a bone in my body except a rib, but I was just being stupid. But you know, like as an adult, as a kid, I never broke any bones, and I used to see people. I don't know if I didn't get enough attention off my parents or something, but someone would turn up at school in a cast, and I was about 5. It's like broken arms. Like, oh, how did you break your arm? Oh, I fell out of bed, and then I spent like the next 6 weeks sleeping on the edge of the bed so that I could fall out in the night, break my arm, go to hospital, get one of those casts. Like I really wanted to go to hospital, so I don't know what that's about. I was only.
and get that sympathy. You were like missing something, and you thought that's the way of getting it.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I think it probably
Oh,
would backfired though.
well, yeah, I'd have broke my arm and I'd been in agony, but it
But you
didn't.
would have manifested a reality that wasn't all that. I mean, you might get a ball of soup for a couple of days and then it soon peter out.
Oh yeah, they were stolen a kidney or something while I was in there. It would have been horrendous. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have got what I wanted.
And you could have like had a double break and you wouldn't have been able to wipe your own bottom.
Well, I was only 5, so I think I was probably still getting help. I can't remember. Probably not. I was in school, weren't I? So, but yeah, but that idea of going to hospital seemed appealing to me as a kid, and right up until I think I was 12, I slipped on the floor at school and like sprained my ankle, and it proper hurt. And I don't know if this is just because I cried in front of everyone that I made them take me to hospital, like so it didn't look like I'd cried for nothing. I'd only twisted my ankle. There was nothing wrong with it, but I wanted an X-ray.
So you had to continue the charade.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to look soft, did I? So I had to make it look like it was something serious. So I did. I did come back from the hospital with crutches.
How long did you get off school?
Oh, I didn't, and I used my crutches for like the morning. There was a pain in the arse. They rubbed your hands, they rubbed under your arms. Everything was slow. Walking down the corridors, you know, with people walking either side of you, you've got these crutches and you're tripping everyone up and they're barging into you. I'm like, this is not worth the charade. This. I was like, I'm getting rid of these. So
Yeah.
I made a speedy recovery on
Did
that
it tick
occasion.
all the boxes then? Or you expected it to put, because you got what you wanted, as in the crutches. So did you get the empathy from people, and was it rewarded?
Oh no, my mum was well pissed off with me.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
she
it played
picked.
out better in your mind than in real life.
I remember this, and I'm sorry if you're listening, Mum. Not like trying to show you off or anything, but well, she probably knew it was all a charade, didn't she? Because she knows me best. So she picked me up from school. It was raining. She was with her partner at the time. She wasn't happy. We drove to hospital. She was like, "This ankle better be broken." No, I didn't get any sympathy. So it, and I knew my mum by that point, so I couldn't have been looking for sympathy. It was just the whole hospital thing. There's something, they make it seem appealing when you're kids, you know, playing doctors and nurses, and oh, you get toys with stethoscopes and stuff. They make
Oh,
it seem
I were lad out
special.
there, doctors and nurses.
Are you joking? Lads play doctors and nurses. That's the whole point of it. You know, when you're about 14, play doctors and nurses.
14.
Uh, yeah. Oh, it's funny.
Mm.
We used to play house. When I was a kid, when you played games, you know, when you did role play, all children used an American accent.
Is that right, is it?
Yeah, it was when I was a kid. You're quite a little bit older than me,
Quite,
but
yeah.
so it's like I don't know. It must have been because we got more TV or something by the time my generation got to school, and I do remember between the ages of like 7 and 9, at least, maybe even up to 10, that whenever we played role play games, you know, like Doctors and Nurses or play house, or we used to play all sorts, fire engines, everyone had an American accent. So don't say the media can't influence you, because it surely does, because I'd never heard an American accent.
No, it's media gets everywhere, doesn't it? Especially kids are like just absorb that stuff for fun. So they want to take something new on board. So the American thing, I think it just started infiltrating as I was getting to like a little bit like I think about 12 or something like that. And then Halloween started. That were a big American thing. You know, like trick or treat, knocking on people's doors.
Yeah.
Someone saying,
What's
"No,
Halloween?
thing, don't be doing that round here."
What was Halloween when you was a kid?
What was what?
Halloween, like what did you do for Halloween before trick or treat or whatever?
It just like just were ghouls and that were about. You know, it was like I think it was seemed more of a spiritual time when witches and like I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't. It's too cover just for a night. I think it was like more of a mythological sort of event.
What I'm trying to ask you is, did you dress up as kids? Like, did you
Uh,
go trick or treating? But did you dress up? Did you play bobbing apples?
oh,
Like,
we used to do the bobbing apple thing. Yeah.
okay, so there was some ritual there still before
Uh,
the Americans.
So it was like a celebration, but then they got it to where you like started dressing up and going knocking on people's doors and fucking asking for shit.
Yeah, my parents were dead against that. No, we weren't allowed to go trick or treating. I thought they were tight. It was just taking off when I was a kid. So it taken the next evolution. Some kids were going trick or treating. We weren't allowed to trick or treat. We weren't allowed to, people beg for money for the guy fawkes on bonfire night.
Oh, we had the guy farts thing.
Guy, yeah, we weren't allowed to do that either because it was seen as begging and being rude, asking for something you didn't need.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's like itself, like, oh, why are you not giving us something? We deserve it. It's like satisfying that self-righteousness sort of ego thing, isn't it? Like you deserve something for nothing.
And
Well,
now, how many years later, like 20 years later, it's like all the kids are going trick or treating. The parents are taking them trick or treating. So no one's telling these kids that it's ours or whatever. It's completely taken over the culture. Halloween has become American in the max. You can't get any more American. People having Halloween parties. Like, you're seen as antisocial if you don't answer your door on Halloween.
yeah, they put chocolate bar on my door handle a couple of Halloweens ago because we turned lights off in our house. Can't be arsed with that shit. We never got any toffees in, so I'm not giving them money because there's hundreds of them come round.
Oh my god, yeah, kids make money from Halloween. It's crazy.
Yeah, parents are like cashing in on it. It's like, oh, I've done 2 hours here, minimum wage, taking 14 quid out at Kitty in a chewy bar.
Mm. Yeah, no, I don't participate in it all. But I
No,
have a Halloween party for the kids in the garden and invited the other kids and made everyone food. So I have had a Halloween party, but no, I've never been taking them trick or treating. I won't. I think it's disgusting. We're turning it around now.
yeah, give it the Yanks back. We don't want that shit. It's like an invasion of your privacy. It's like, I don't want to participate. I don't want people knocking on my door who I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't even know these people. It's not like they're familiar.
Mm. It's bad enough that there's all these social events that everyone's expected to participate in. But when you're, like turning up for Christmas dinner and all that kind of stuff, but actually, like forced participation and you'll be shamed if you don't participate, it's a complete turnaround. It's shocking, so quick as well.
Well, that's what it's like part of a narcissistic society, isn't it? You got to like step up to the plate and be at these places and have these holidays and have a party, wacky warehouse for your kid and buy them all teddies and it's like you can't say no. It's like are the kids getting picked on at school if they don't, or do they just not get invited to these things and it's like they get left out? If you as a parent ain't prepared to spend that kind of money, it's like I've done it, so you got to do it.
With things like birthdays and Christmas, I just get my kids what I get them. I don't particularly spoil them for birthdays and Christmas, but you know what? It's difficult because I don't expect anyone to buy my kids things for the birthday. I don't expect them to buy things and stuff for the Christmas or anything like that. But people expect you to buy their kids stuff for the birthday and stuff for Christmas and stuff for Easter. And it's like all these holidays, and if you don't participate and send. Have I got an extreme view? Because I'm just listening to myself, and it's just
Great.
hard.
But I want to add that I think women are getting drawn into this a lot more than guys. Guys are like, you know, we don't like go around giving each other Christmas cards and birthday cards. It's more of like they're targeting the female.
Yeah, well, they've done a very good job.
Yeah, but perhaps they're more susceptible to that kind of thought, so that's why they take advantage of it. You know, like have a good home and all this, and the nice settee, and keep up with the fashionable curtains and decorations. It's like targeting you.
Just another attacking it on the
Over attack. Yeah.
nail.
Well, it's a natural process, but is it natural to have a new colour coordination or changing the fashions and the shades and bringing new stuff out? It's impossible to like keep up.
Yeah, it is. People just shouldn't bother.
No, it's like you get drawn into it, don't you? It's like even with kids and trainers and fashion, and you don't want like your kid being picked on for being, not being trendy.
Yeah, it's difficult. You wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't want your kid being picked on for anything really. But then I suppose you just got to also teach your kids to stick up for themselves. You know,
Well, it's just your
there's a
kids
lot.
what's important, and like outward appearance isn't important. Well, it is a little bit, but it's like what's inside is the most important thing. It's like showing that part of humanity.
Yeah, teach children not to be materialistic because
Uh,
they're not when they're little. They're really not. They grow into it.
yeah, but it's like everything, like I said earlier, it's getting targeted with like real fucking heavy psychological shit for these like channels. You know, you mentioned it, the YouTube channel that you let them watch, but there's adverts coming on there, and they're proper like getting in the reds, and it's all okay. You know, no one's questioning this kind of stuff, but it's like they're aware of it. The people creating it and putting it out there, they know exactly what they're doing, but everybody else seems to be oblivious.
I think people are waking up though. You know, I had a really interesting conversation with somebody the other day that I never thought I'd have that kind of conversation with them ever. And it was a private conversation, so I won't go into it. But yes, very, very positive and totally out of left wing, completely out of left field. Did I say left wing?
So you think, is it all by design to have people waking up to what's going on by turning the screws?
Yes and no.
Is it time for a paradigm shift into another direction? It's like this run its course. This reality is it done all it can, and we've come to the end, and it's time for a change, or are they just going to double down and see what else they can come up with?
See, I'm split on the answer with that because when I look at it, I think it's all just one big social experiment. So, yeah, it's coming to an end, and yeah, they're going to double down. It's just they'll just shift the experiment in a different direction. It's just all been a big experiment, all of it. From living in towns and cities, getting us to go work 40 hours a week, taxes, all of it, everything. So, in my opinion, it's all one big experiment. So, yes, it will come to an end, and yes, they will double down and just change the direction. Do I think that is this reality coming to an end in a like more physical sense? Possibly. I don't know. I don't even know what reality is.
Reality is being out in nature and walking around with nothing on your feet, and that's reality, really, isn't it? This isn't anything but, you know, sat in the house, watching telly, going to work, sat in your car, in an office 40 hours a week under false light, artificial lighting. It's just, it's not reality that you know that was created for us in the beginning. It's like it's their reality, isn't it? And we buy it into it and support it with our money and just go along with it.
Yeah, on that level we do definitely. I don't even know though, you know, because you just said it. You just said then about it being created and being created for us. I don't know on what kind of level it was created for us. You know, I don't know if some loving creative energy created this paradise for all of us to enjoy, or if it's some unnatural construct that we're all kept in and just experimented on. We're just bacteria grown in a lab.
So they're
You know
like
what I'm
permission
saying?
to be here, but uh, I don't know how to. It's a big it's a big like question, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you started it,
Yeah,
so.
we do a show on that in itself.
Hmm. What do we want to talk about next week, Aaron? Have you decided?
I'm sure some will pop up in between now and then.
Hmm. I'm sure it will. There's loads, isn't there? This is never going to end. I'm 6 weeks in, and I do not want to give up yet. I'm really happy. I like this job.
Our audience is failing, falling.
Oh, falling. Oh, possibly.
But we'll just keep doing what we're
Oh,
doing.
you mean like view counts and things?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just leave it, let people find it, and they'll come across these little uh, philosophical debates. No, not debates, but conversations. So
yeah.
yeah,
Put
I
out
love it. I
all
like it.
things.
Sorry, Aaron. What did you say?
We're just trying to like look at things all they are and put our own little spin on it, and hopefully get people check out themselves or be informative enough for people to form an opinion on stuff. Because we do look into it, and that's try and put life's experience on top of what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure things out, aren't we?
Yeah, so I mean, we've not always got the right answers, but we'll try and get there in the end.
So yeah, hopefully, we might be some help to some people, and with any luck, someone will come and give us some help and point us in the right direction. Because one of the things I'm just going to say now, before we finish the show, is I've completely forgot. Reminded myself of someone then. Uh,
You can't have a big build up like that and then just say I completely. You did that with it, wasn't it? That was the end result.
I know, yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave you all hanging.
Yeah, leave you hanging
Oh,
next time.
yeah, I'll have to tell you next time. Uh, so, have you got any words of wisdom for us, Aaron?
No, I haven't thought anything.
Regarding narcissists,
So what? So what?
anything any help you can give us towards narcissists? Like,
Just don't have high expectations. from them. Once you assess if you're dealing with one, get the fuck away if you can. Nothing's going to change. Heal yourself. But a narcissist can't heal themselves. They're just that's where they are, and they're always going to stay that way.
But they do cause a lot of damage, and if you have been in the path of a narcissist, try not to spend too much time trying to figure out why they did treat you like that or why they did that to you. Just accept that they did, and just try and heal yourself and move on from it and leave them well in the past, because nothing good comes from it at all.
Yeah, you can't fix them, so fix yourself.
Yeah. I've got a nice tasty snack for tonight.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're prepared.
Well, this is for when you've got nothing in and you've got no money, or your cupboards are bare. This is like your own little pizzas, because everyone's usually got a couple slices of bread, tiny little bit of cheese that wouldn't make a sandwich, but if you grate it, it's going to spread out a bit. So get some bread, spread some tomato puree on there as if it is butter, spread it on there, sprinkle some herbs on, like Italian herbal seasoning or marjoram, thyme, basil, those kinds of things. Slice mushrooms, bit of cheese, bang it under the grill, you've got yourself a pizza. Or do it in the oven even and crisp both sides. Little pizza, costs nothing, really tasty. Basically just put what's in your cupboard. Well, there you go. I'll make you one of them at the weekend, Aaron.
Yeah, you keep saying this. I'll make you this, I'll make you that.
You have to remind me. I'm forgetful.
No,
Not seen
forward to it.
guilt tripping me.
Not what?
I've not seen you for ages.
Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We'll get all retro tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to it.
Back to the what? 40s? Is it 60s?
Anything from the 90s and backwards, so you can come from any era.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
Dig my birdhouse jacket out and maybe Rockports.
Yeah, so that Vintage by the Sea in Morecambe, it's on over this weekend. So a lot of stuff going on. It's usually a lot of fun. Loads of interesting stalls, music, things to look at, pop-up art. And we could do some activism there, couldn't we?
Oh, I've got some leaflets I could bring in with me.
I think I might bring a stencil and something.
All right, yeah, graffiti.
Yeah, on the wall. So yeah.
Get on it.
I really can't what I was going to say before. So yeah, that's narcissism. In a nutshell, it's very complex, it's very deep, and it's quite scary because they can be very tricky characters to deal with. So beware.
I think we've all been touched by narcissists at some point in our life.
Probably.
Yeah.
What was the percentage? 15% or something?
Between 10 and 15%.
10 and 15, so it's quite high. Chances are you have bumped into one at some point. And if you can offer anybody any help in the comments that might have been dealing with a narcissist, please put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Give someone a lifeline.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to say good night.
All right. Good night.
I'm getting tired now.
Yeah.
Be getting up in a few hours.
I'm knackered. It's been a long week.
Yeah, and this has been the longest hangout we've ever done.
All right. Lost track of time.
It has been an interesting conversation, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot we haven't gone over, but I'm sure people can have a look into it and figure it out for themselves. I mean, everyone's angle on it and situation is always going to be a bit different.
Yeah, there is a lot to go in there. It does get quite deep. Right, so we'll see you all again next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, cheers. And see you later.
Good night.
Good night.